Would have to wear earmuffs in Hollywood. But if we never make it, doesn't mean that we're no good. Wouldn't have to wear earmuffs in Hollywood. But if we never make it, doesn't mean that we're no good.
Welcome to Hollywood, New Jersey, episode 5. Today we have a very, very special, distinguished guest, Steve Bogosian. Fuck Rocco, he could have introduced himself. He stuttered, so
No, we're supposed to clap.
Oh, let's clap.
God damn it.
Three. Oh,
Doesn't matter.
there we go.
Especially for stuff like this, because the software does the work.
Yep.
Right? So in Final Cut, in Premiere, in Avid, whatever, there's something to give you access to a sync point anyway, any which way.
Yeah.
And Final Cut, literally, you just have to tell it to take the 3 things, and by the audio forms, it'll do it.
Yeah.
So that's just my nerd rant, because it's like, I don't need to clap and sync. I do it for Manny.
Manny's not here. I'm not doing
Manny's
it.
not here. Here's your fucking clap and sync. It doesn't matter.
I was like, oh, he forgot. He's going to be anal
I
about
thought
it later.
the fan's on. Yeah, I can get rid of the fan.
I still like that it's there though, because at least I have a spot that I can
Sure.
in case the audio.
I just
syncs
sometimes
up.
I'm on set, and even it's like where I work, and I know that I hire film students, so they're very used to being organized and doing stuff like that, which is great. It's great because on set, people are going to look at that. But like when you're working with me long enough, you know that I'm going to just go, all right, let's do another take, and they're like ready to slate up and stuff, and I'm like, no, just go. Like, how do we sync it? I'm like, are you kidding me? Just fucking roll.
Yeah.
You know, like it just irritates the piss out of me
Yeah.
when you know that you can keep going, and the sync is not hard. Now, on 28, we learned our lesson that that's a bad idea because you're on a movie, you have 30 takes of one thing, and you get lost in the sauce. That's different.
Yeah, on a film set or anything, it's you're going to do multiple takes. I would.
Yeah. So the visual
suggest-
cue,
I would
visual cue,
suggest-
and the audio cue is obviously awesome. All right, I'm Giancarlo Fernandez. I made a movie a long time ago. You are.
No one gives a shit. But I'm Rocco Pachulo. I made a movie a long time ago.
You are.
I'm Steve Bogosian, and I was in a few movies a long time ago.
That's
so.
right.
See
Really
you next
excited-
week, guys. Monetization. Fuck you.
We're really excited
Hit
to
the 1
have
minute mark.
our buddy Steve here, who we affectionately call Bogo. Steve used to be one of my bosses at Apple,
Yeah.
right? Many, many moons ago.
Sad.
And
If you put me in your fucking movie, you're fired.
during that time, when we got to know each other, we had a lot of stuff in common. We had films in common, acting in common, humor in common, I think most importantly. But I talked to you about, hey, there's this movie I'm working on. And you're like, oh, I used to act. And I was like, cool, would you be in it? And you were like, yeah. And I think it was kind of just like, just us talking for a while about you being in whatever I produced. But ultimately, when I brought you a script and I wanted you to play the Dark Rider in 28-minute epic.
Just trust me. Welcome to the lair of despair.
Hey, guys, where you been?
Our superhero action comedy. Rated R, independently made for $4,100.
It's on Vimeo. It's 99 cents. Go get it, you cheap bastards.
Heads up, it's very R.
There's a documentary about it. Check it out.
It's very R. You laughed. You thought it was funny. Rocco and I, worked hard on a bunch of drafts and said, like, this is the movie we want to shoot. And we brought you on. Give us your kind of initial reaction to just being like cast in 28 and what your thoughts were going in. Unfiltered, Bogo.
No, I mean,
Slightly filtered, Bogo.
it was Epstein. No, initially I thought it was the script. I thought was just very smart. So I was very excited to be part of it because I thought the script had a lot of potential in a way of the storytelling of it combined with, I mean, there's some very, I don't know, fucked up things to throw in there, right? But we and that's what also I was very interested in how we're going to make those work, because if you look at the script just as a script, I could see what it was potentially going to be, but at the same time, making that go from script to camera can be very tricky.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I initially just thought I really liked the challenge of it. I liked the character was hilarious to me.
So we brought you out of retirement, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, before that I only ever really did like kind of what Rocco's been experiencing now is a lot of the extra stuff before that and like student stuff.
But you had some training.
Yeah. I had taken my initial foray into acting was actually through animation school, and I was one of the animation teachers told me, he says, if you can't move yourself or make yourself do any sort of emoting, how are you supposed to make your characters? And I was like, okay. So initially I snuck into a couple of classes down in Philadelphia, which still nobody knew I did, but and then I would watch that, and then I was like, okay. And then when I got to Rutgers, I took a few classes there in the summer because the credits weren't going toward anything that I was doing for my degree. And then once I did that, one of the acting teachers there said, you might want to look at this a little bit further because I think you actually have you could do some work.
Someone believed in you. Someone gave you hope.
Somebody spent 30 seconds to say, go look at this. And that was but it was enough for me to go, okay, maybe I should look at this.
He just looked at him like, this guy looks like he could be a vigilante. He sucks off trans women and does cocaine and fights people. I think that's what it is.
At least somebody saw that.
Yeah, somebody saw that. They got you.
But that's how I got in. Started doing more and more things. And at the time, it was before the way casting's done now. You had to get an agency, if it was an extras agency. You had to get, basically let into the world. There's a few different type of gatekeepers. The casting directors were the main ones still, but even to get cast as an extra, you needed an agent to at least throw your name in there.
Yeah, it was a lot harder before. I remember being like I was on the set, like this thing, and they were like, "Oh, you should get some extra work," and I'm like, "Where?" Like I couldn't find it. I couldn't get in.
That's exactly. It's what's changed now is that like even though there were casting directors who were just doing extra work, like you still needed an in to get into them unless it was an open casting call. And back then they were a lot more rare.
But this is all because of COVID probably too, right?
Well, no, I'm saying that all switched over because of things like COVID and the industry changed in general. In that
Doing
way,
your
too.
self-tapes, like everybody does their own self-tape
That's all
now.
COVID. Like
that's all COVID.
That's all COVID. Like there were self-tapes for people who like, oh, I can't. I'm shooting a film in Las Vegas. The auditions are in
so it was a thing, but it wasn't.
It wasn't a
common
main thing at all.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden COVID came along and everybody's like, well, we need to still work. Well,
Yeah,
let's
'cause-
use the self-tape thing.
On Backstage, on what's the other one?
Actors Access, Casting Networks is
Casting
the thing.
Networks.
Casting
The
Network,
Grant
yeah.
Wiley, what's it called?
Grant
Wiley.
Wiley.
Yeah, that's more like the actual casting agent, but they'll actually put it out. So then they'll put their stuff on Backstage to help it like push.
And
it.
then somebody owns Mandy now. I think Backstage owns Mandy.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they kind of like it's like a weird joint membership where they kind of get emails
Okay.
for both.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how now it's different. Like they are. We did a couple before I started going back into it where we would go to these. Graham Wilfie, you get the notification. You go sit in a church for 3 hours, and then they take pictures and say thank you very much. You either hear or you don't.
Yeah.
But that was all before COVID. So COVID definitely switched everything else out. And from what I understand from casting directors now, it's how that's morphed is a lot of casting offices have given up their spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't even have offices anymore for people to go to an
why pay
in-person
for it?
audition. Right. So they're saving money by seeing...
They could just rent the space out if they need to do something big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, what can we cut? Can this be done from home?
And quite honestly, they can see a lot more people now.
Yeah.
They could see a bunch of people, that they might not have ever seen. They could see different types of people from different areas.
It's got to be hard to sift through stuff now, though, right? I feel like now, at first glance, what happens is if 100 people send in for a role, if you get the type of casting the director's looking for something specific, they're not watching your tape from the second they see the visual of your video, right? Because it's almost treated like a headshot. They might just be like, nah, that's not the look. Nah, that's not the look.
Well, it depends on the role, right? So, like, I know there are plenty of casting directors who will sit there and say that I watched the entire tape, and there's a few that won't unabashedly. They'll just start skimming. Like they don't just leave it for the first 5 seconds. They want to see if you get somewhere else. But if it's the same thing all the way through, they're like, I see what it is, and they move on.
I find it like easier to do it with submit it, but I like actually doing it in the room more because I want them to like give me like how do you actually want it? Like what do you?
Yeah, so the first and only audition I've had in person since COVID. It wasn't the only thing I've booked since COVID, but it's the only thing that I did in person. I booked that.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is, to your point, there is something very much. I will take an in-person audition, or Zoom's auditions are a lot harder because there is that lag that, like, it's very hard to do a comedic Zoom audition because the pacing's all fucked up.
Yeah.
Right? It's all fucked up. There's no, unless you have somebody in the, like, kind of talking almost over each other.
Because it's hard to let it breathe
Yeah.
for the proper pacing.
Yeah. But I'll like the one audition I did was for a pretty big co-star on, or no, it was actually listed as a guest star on Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez stories. Now my part was cut in the end, but I shot it, was booked, did the whole thing, and that was an in-person audition, and there's something to it. There's something more alive to it.
I always get like that adrenaline where you're just like, okay, let me in person. I just feel it more.
Well, yeah, because you're also in front of the person who's going to either send it forward or not, right?
Yeah.
There's some skin in the game at that point. Whereas, like, I've gotten to a point now where I'm like, you know, well, I shouldn't say that. When I was getting more auditions, we can talk about the industry in general, how that's changed over the last year. Whenever you want, but like when I was getting auditions, 2 or 3 a month, 4 a month. You get to a point where you're just like, okay, you have your Zoom buddy, and then you're calling them, and it's just a very different feel because, you know, in theory, a self-tape audition, that's why I also like it in person. Somebody you can get doing 100 takes. Well, you're not going to get 100 takes on set.
Yeah.
So you need to know where you're, in the end, like, you know, they need to know that you know what you're doing on set too. Now, that's usually either through a callback, or then they switch it to a Zoom audition. They know this person could perform it when they need to perform it. Yeah. But the initial screening, and there's plenty of stuff that just casts off tapes. Don't get me wrong. But you know, that's the problem with tapes, is a casting director is kind of at a handicap unless they know the actor pretty well from the past. That you could do 40 takes that we don't know if that's take 1, take 2, take 40 that you actually did the good work. Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, my thing is just like always like what are you going for? Like in person, like okay, maybe do a little faster, a little slower. You want to do this, but when you just like put the one take in, you're like, I think this is what you want.
I'm hoping for actors that the first take that they're throwing up for people that they're seeing is the tape that the actor is hoping is the interpretation that the actor wants to put forward, right? Like you and I could read the same script, right, and we could put 2 totally different things forward. What a lot of actors get hung up on is, well, is this what they want to see? And quite honestly, the casting directors don't want to see that anyway because they could see right through it in 2 seconds. People play tone, people play character, people play what's the show like. Like, throw up what you think is the role. Right. And if it's not right for that role, it's not right for that role. But at least you're going to get a good audition. That casting director's going to remember, oh, Giancarlo did this and that, but it wasn't right for that role, but let's bring him in for this. And that happens far more often than a lot of people want to admit. Yeah.
So was it Bryan Cranston or somebody? They were like, do the audition like you already got the part, so that it allows you to be freed from trying something like ridiculous. Just like own it, give it your best shot, and then just dip.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sitting here saying you should play something comedic when it's a dramedy. Here we go, a drama role.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm sitting there saying, like, if you have a certain take that you want to put out there, that's how you're reading it, then do that over. Oh, I know it's a superhero movie. I got to do it this way. You know, you're killing yourself. You're killing your own audition in that way because you're not being you. And then when you get the set and they want to see that, I mean, I have a ton of stories of actors who either lie on their auditions or their resumes, and then they get the set, and they're like, one guy I remember was I won't say the show just so you don't have to worry about legality, but there was a guy who on his resume put he speaks fluent German. Great. Auditions with the casting director in person, which means you're getting the lines beforehand, says the thing what they thought was perfect German. Get to set, they rearrange and redo the entire script. Now he has to read German for the first time. Found out later he was getting one of his friends to basically record it into a thing so he could rehear it. Gets the set, and the main actor finds out, and he couldn't do it.
Oh my God. Just clarify, I recite German.
Right. And that's what it was, right?
You speak German limitedly.
Right. So now all of a sudden you got this guy, and the main actor like literally brought him aside, and for lack of a better, and I remember sitting there watching that, and that was how I knew any of the stuff I had on my resume, because I was right when I was starting again.
That was fake.
That I knew it was like, this is a stretch. I pulled out immediately. Because this man got chewed out by a major actor.
I think that's supposed to be the thing. Like if someone says, "Can you ride a horse?" You're like, sure, and then you just figure it out. But with a language, you're fucked.
Right.
So
Well-
I have conversational Portuguese in mind. So now I'm going, maybe I should get rid of that. Because they might want to get me to read something. It's like, I don't know that I can read.
Well, but that's the thing,
Portuguese.
right? So conversation, if you're going to put put levels. So like I just came back from a trip to Japan. I can get by in Japan speaking Japanese. I don't know if that's conversational. I write beginner in Japanese.
Okay.
Intermediate in German, and fluent English. And,
I'm about to start Japanese.
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
thinking
much.
about it.
Thinking about it.
Yeah,
I've got the Duolingo. We're good. Yeah.
I'm intro to intro Japanese.
So is it fair to say that after you made a movie with us, and you did a bunch of short films too, right? You worked
Yeah.
on some short films.
Yep. Student films.
We've
short
worked together on actual productions. We worked together at Blizzard as
Yeah.
well. We've collaborated a lot since
Yeah.
we've known each other. Is it fair to say that making an indie film with us was kind of like the spark that reinvigorated everything for you again, to be like, let me give this another go?
Yeah, no, that film definitely gave me 20-minute epic really did give me a thing. Well, it was a couple things, right? It was one, I really loved being in the environment again, because there's nothing really like being on a film set. And then it's funny because there's different grades of that. I'm sure you saw with the Happy Gilmore too, right? Like,
Yeah.
that is a different beast than an indie film, is a different beast than a student film. Like everything is different based on the level of
I bet. And I mean, I've even, because I've worked those sets and I've been an extra as well in like a big film, and hearing it from his perspective the last year, like being on a bunch of indie sets, then he's on the Aaron Hernandez thing playing like a religious zealot.
right.
Yeah. It was
Then-
Tim Tebow Church. I'm gay and I like football.
He's in some crazy horror like indie stuff. Then Happy Gilmore, and you're like, he tells me about his experience and like the ups and downs and the food and this. Oh, and he was on Galaxy 4. It's an indie film that's filming right now.
Fun.
In Jersey as well.
Congratulations, that's great.
Yeah.
So
So
he's
you gotta
been-
know the right people,
he's
not
been-
the people you know, but I know the level
I don't
down.
know too many people. I don't know.
He's still an unsuccessful fuck, but he's working, right?
If you're on this podcast, you kind of are.
But like a part of me is jealous, like in a good way. Like, oh man, I wish I was there with my friend hanging out, right? So like
Yeah.
when I see that, like when we saw you on the Deuce
Yeah.
with Ralph Macchio, like
Yeah.
I was like a giddy little kid. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
my fucking friend's on TV.
Whatever.
My friend, look at my friend. Like rewinded it again.
Yeah.
And like we would send each other
Screenshot.
screenshots and like voice stuff. And fucking Rocco did it for like, I don't know, for a long time. He would send
I put the Dark Rider over
Yeah.
like a Law and Order. It's like,
Yeah.
wait, fine, I'm guilty. Fuck you.
wait, Bond, I'm guilty. And like he would just make jokes with you on there. But we were like kind of like just proud of you, right? We're just
Yeah.
like, this is amazing.
No, yeah,
that
thank you,
You're
'cause-
still at it. You're still going.
When there's people that are like tangentially like, oh, I'm going to do a movie. It's like, good job, man, good job. And you're like, God damn, I wish I was in that. And then I watch anything of you. I'm like, that's my boy.
Yeah, well, it's funny. So like, it's fun because I watched Happy Gilmore 2, and then I went back and I was like, my friend wanted to watch it. I'm like, all right, I'll watch this again. And then because I enjoyed it, but I'm in a mode of right now when listening to your guys' podcast, it's interesting because I'm in a very different mode of like, I'll watch something and then my new litmus test of whether I like it or not is if I'll watch it again.
I'll fucking never watch that movie again. I did laugh though.
I did laugh.
I laughed. I laughed a lot.
I watched the second time.
I did laugh
And
a
I found
lot.
him. And I was like, oh shit, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And so I know. It's
1
like-
hour, 21 minutes, and 45 seconds. We're going to have t-shirts like Austin 316. It's just going to be Rocco, 1 hour, 21. Yeah.
I mean, there is something to be said when you actually recognize somebody, or I have a few friends now who have gotten into a few major things. Like one of my friends, one of the guys I know is a guy who's a regular on Ghosts.
That's cool.
One of my friends just booked a new Apple series. I know a couple people from For All Mankind on Apple. Like you start to see it, and it's funny because you get jealous of them wanting to be in the process, but not jealous of their success.
Yeah.
You know, it's an interesting dichotomy.
I just think it's cool that if you continue, let's say, I think we all continue to go with like just like a modicum of success. There's like just enough that's like, I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna keep doing this because
and
I believe
it's a drug.
if it's drive for
Filmmaking.
if it's drive for a
a line
decade,
up.
I think it's a lot easier to throw the towel in.
Yeah.
But we always find ourselves with something that baits us in a way where we're like, oh, we can do that well. We can do that well.
Well, and there is something to be said about too. Like it's one of the only things I've ever done that I'll akin it to a drug in a way too, because like you really kind of, or it's actually more like gambling in a way, that you kind of really do only need one thing to hit, and then everything changes. So you kind of want to stay in it long enough to get to that one thing that makes you get to a different level, or it's
It's an
that
industry
feeling.
based on chaos and hope.
Yeah.
The fact that they teach it in college is crazy. It's like, you
Yeah.
might as well be like, this is how you win the lottery.
Well, so skills taught in college. Well, hopefully, and you could attest this more than I can. I'm hoping that the skills of filmmaking are taught in college versus like what, in other words, like the skill, I mean, of what lens to use when you want to have a certain
I think
effect,
that
that
technical
kind of thing.
abilities are definitely things that are touched upon in college in a way where if you stick with one of them, you can become really well versed
Yeah.
in something,
Yeah.
like becoming a DP, a sound person, an editor.
It depends on what you're going for.
Yeah, 100%.
When it comes to directing, when it comes to writing, I had 2 screenwriting classes in college that I thought taught me a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that writing and directing are such like nebulous things that there's so many directions that you can go. So structuring that for you to learn is
100%.
is a tough thing. So you have to pick a mode. You have to pick a template, a structure, right? Whether it's like
And what do they call it? Kinesthetic learning. Those are 2 things. Like the more it's almost like the acting thing of the 10,000 hour thing, which is
you start finding your way.
These
you
are-
got to
yeah.
keep, but you just got to keep doing
And
it
what-
to get better and
exactly.
better.
This is how technically you do it. Not sure if it's going to work out for you.
Right.
Good luck.
In your style, which can evolve over time, but
Yeah.
your style usually is based off the thing that you're really good at.
Right.
So if I'm really good at one-liners, writing and a script, I'm always going to be the one that rewrites the one-liners. If I'm really good at creating a composition where I know how to make the guy look lonely,
Yeah.
because I know how to use the space, that's going to be my style when I film, right? So
Remind me, I got a story for you about that.
what I think
So lonely.
with school, I think what it did was help me look for a style, not
Yeah, yeah.
develop it. Because it wasn't until we started making 28 that I was like, do I have a style? Which I think to this day, I don't have a visual style, but there's people who have watched the stuff that I've made and they're like, you have a style.
Yeah.
But I don't see it. Like, I don't see it. And I think the style has a lot to do with the fact that we always take serious shit and we throw levity at it because that's the only way to make it not seem cringe, as the children would say today.
Sure, or derivative or copying somebody else, right? And speaking of style, can we talk about this beard for just a few seconds?
Really good.
Fuck
Once
yeah.
once I become a homeless man in real life or on a film set, it's going to pay off.
So
But either way,
somebody at work? Somebody who watched the podcast
Yeah.
I was talking to.
it's a Peter with the beard, the
no,
lion.
no. Somebody said something funny.
I want to fuck that guy's beard.
But it was about the beard. It was just so funny.
Oh, yeah?
But I can't believe it wasn't mean or anything. It was just like, your buddy's really funny. His camera angle and his everything looks different. I'm like, oh, he has a different phone.
yeah.
They're like, yeah, but his beard, something about his beard is his. And I was like, oh, that patchy shit on his face. I was like, yeah, that's his beard. And it's like, it just looks so funny. He looks like a character playing a character. And I
It
was
looks like a fake beard you never took off.
The beard isn't the problem. This is the fucking problem.
Go
the reverse.
into
nothing,
the camera so
this
they
is,
can see.
This
Come
is
closer to
yeah.
it.
Okay, this is the beard. This is fine. I don't have a problem. This my wife likes.
Nothing really grows there. You're not shaving.
No, I don't shave nothing
it's like
here.
a reverse Nazi.
It's a reverse Hitler. If
Thank
Hitler
you.
kissed me, we'd have a full mustache. But really, it comes down to my wife's like, I like your beard. It's like, good. I don't fuck what anyone else thinks.
Your
I like-
wife likes it.
Yeah, she likes it.
Holy
Yeah.
shit!
She likes him.
Cause yeah, I know, right?
I don't understand.
I don't
I'm-
make them
I'm-
like me.
I'm-
They just like me by accident.
I'm divorced. I have no leg to stand on at this point.
Are you officially divorced?
Yeah.
Yeah, she took your leg.
Man. So then is it fair to say that we got you back into acting and ruined your marriage?
That didn't ruin my marriage.
Ah, okay.
That was questioning what the hell are you doing with your life section of my marriage. But then I always found a way to either edit or do something that made money. That was the big concern, is if you're going to leave Apple, what are you going to do for money? And that was a big concern for her, and rightfully so, right? Like, I mean, what at the time I was in my mid 30s, so like, you know, how big of a midlife crisis was I allowed, kind of thing. You know, I just couldn't stand anymore because it was a great company. I didn't leave the company.
I loved Apple, working for Apple.
And most of the shit that I take to this day of like how I function in any sort of work environment has been derived from that experience.
Mine too.
Apple makes a lot of good filmmakers. They just shouldn't work at Apple. Because after that, it's like fucking you guys, Danny, Manny.
But my process, like like I have this little, you know, my let's call it my memento, or my like my motto for like my day-to-day process is just don't abandon process. Like that, I have a little sticky note on my fucking thing at work. Like, don't abandon process. And for me, even though it's like can come off hokey and stuff, when I'm doing work, anything that I'm doing, I don't want to skip a step, because if I skip a step, everything else gets fucked. So that's with writing, with us working on stuff, and I can be very detail oriented to the point where I know it might annoy my friend or friends or whoever I'm working with, because I'm doing this whole thing and it's like, why are you going through all these fucking steps? And I'm like Doctor Stranging it. I'm just going, and I feel that if I don't prepare in that way, I'll fall flat. And it also allows me to, in the moment, if I need to, improvise, because I've done all this other, you know, research work, whatever the fuck you want.
I don't know if it was AI or not, but there was some interview I just saw with Walton Goggins. It might be AI, but I've heard this before. That's why I'm still kind of okay saying it. Is that and I'm saying I don't know if the interview itself was AI, but he swears by in the interview swears by the how he gets the scripts in himself is to read it 250 times.
He doesn't just wrap it up his ass.
Right. Like, I mean, I wish that were a thing, because sure, then I'd be finally okay with it.
Walking around, I just saved myself so much time.
But no, like
he reads it a lot of times.
over and over, and he says he's talked to the people like.
I saw the interview. It's real.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah.
Okay, so
he was told that though. Like, he basically, someone gave him that advice, and he was like, "That's good advice."
Right, and then he tried, and then like I've never been able to go that. But what I will say is your idea of preparation is almost. It reminds me of that, because once you have something that in you, no jokes. Once you have something that in you, you know it so well that you're not really worried about recalling what you're doing. You're able to then play and do whatever the hell you want. Now, I'm in auditions. That's very hard, because who has enough time between and granted, SAG has done a great job in now getting us at least 48 hours or a certain number of time before the auditions do, if it's a union project, right? So like, they can't just say we need 15 pages by tomorrow. They have to limit it to a certain number of pages, and then
so you have some preparation.
We have some preparation time. Now, that being said, and if any actor is actually listening to this that is in SAG, that means from when the casting director sends it out to you, a lot of times it's going through an agent or a manager.
They're losing time.
So if they don't get it to you soon after they get it, that 48-hour clock doesn't start when you get it. That 48-hour clock started when they sent it out.
Yeah, 48 hours. It just said 47 hours ago.
So
figure it out, fuck.
Right. So if your representation sits on it for a day, you really then only have a day, and that's the issue. But at least my point is that who the hell has 48 hours can read something 250 times? You can't. So it's a different method. Acting for auditioning is very different than acting for being on camera in a set. It just is. And I'm not talking about the one-liners. I'm talking about like when you have 3 pages of stuff, it's a very different animal, because, you're kind of doing it to survive and get through the scene in an audition and just hope you're somewhere close to the ballpark of what they want to see, versus you need to know those lines. It's your job to know those lines. It's your job to say those lines. And then on top of it, say it how the director wants you to intentionally say it. And you could do that a million different ways. That's just different acting ways. But it is a difference between it. I know plenty of people who are fantastic, vice versa too. They're fantastic at auditioning. They get on set and I'm shocked they're not fired. At reverse it, I know people are terrible auditioning, and they're some of the best on-camera actors I've ever seen.
Well, somebody said that, I think it was one, like, might have been like Bryan Cranston. I want to keep giving him fucking false things. Like, Bryan Cranston said everything. But it was like,
Bryan Cranston wrote Sinners.
Yeah, he wrote Sinners.
Right.
Like, well, pretty good.
Voted for Trump twice.
Yeah. No. So it was just the fact that you said that you have to think of auditioning as part of the job.
It is.
Instead of like, like, oh, I have to do this to get the job, so you have the anxiety of it. It's like, no, this is part of the job. So
it is.
Like,
And you kind of have to really like audition. Like, I've gotten to a point now, like, I could never watch my tapes forever. So I know where like my start point would be and my end point would be, and I just cut it and send it out.
I found it fun, but I think it's, for me, I haven't been able to do it as much as you two in the last decade.
Yeah.
But there was a few times Rocco and I went together.
Oh,
We
yeah.
went to the city, like you go, just basically doing like you're doing a tape there and all that stuff. It's still a fun experience for me because I almost feel like even though I haven't, nothing's been given to me at that point, going through that process makes me go like, I'm in here. I'm in the game.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just waiting to be called up.
You got in
somehow.
the room, which a lot of people don't get to do.
And I love that. I love that because those are the little things that keep me definitely motivated. Even if let's say I stumble a line, I fuck up, whatever the case, which has happened. I just love the idea of going, oh, my preparation for this day is to go sit in front of a room of people and convince them that I can play another person.
Yeah.
For that thing that I remember that, like I had to like read it was the same thing. I had to like read a scene of Knocked Up where he finds out that the girl's pregnant, and I guess I did it with a little too much aggression. They're like, "Why do you sound so angry?" And I was like, "I was doing it with passion." And he's like, "You sound like you're like, what the fuck? The baby's mine."
And that's honestly a benefit. That is a benefit to tape yourselves and watch it because there's plenty of times I've gotten better at it now after doing it, like you said, doing it so often.
Yeah.
But there were times before where I think I'm doing it a certain way to evoke a certain thing for a viewer. And it's not like I'm consciously thinking about that, but I'm like, oh, this way, I don't think I sound angry. I don't think I sound upset. And then you watch it back and you're like, oh, I look like a psychotic. Like,
I didn't know I was holding a knife the whole fucking time.
Right. I shouldn't have choked the reader.
So
Like,
what's the protocol now that you are a single man? You have more time for yourself.
Yeah.
You want to continue in this craft.
Yeah.
And you want to get better.
Yeah.
What does getting better look like as an actor?
I try to do it as often as I can without going broke. So I will try to take a casting director workshop at least once a month.
What do those entail?
So that's when you're either on a Zoom or in a room with a class with a casting director who's hopefully working. And it is a class. They're not like pay to play audition things. A lot of people think that they are. 9 times out of 10 they're not. But they are. If you are in front of a working casting director, they either assign you a scene or you bring in a scene that you're well versed in, or they'll assign you one a couple days before and you have to bring that in. Then you perform that scene with a reader. And then the hope is in the end, there are a lot of people who walk into these that really are hoping that the casting director will call them in for the next thing. I'm not going to tell you it's never happened for me. I have gotten called in 3 days after the class is over. I've never heard from certain casting directors because it all depends on what they're working on, how much, am I the right person? Don't forget, it's not even just about, I could be the best actor in the room in that class, and it will never matter if they're never casting something that I would be right for. So you go into these things just trying to learn, like, there's a time where I was just learning casting director preferences of like who likes props, who doesn't, who does it. And meanwhile, it's expensive as hell as a way to do that. But at the same time, like, at least I learned that. And then what I ended up doing was I'm almost using them now as I'm getting in front of people who I may not have met before, or who I've met before and I want to see again because they've called me in or something. Hey, I'm alive. But I am kind of using it a little bit more as a gym because they're, I'm usually in a weekly acting auditioning class via Zoom, so I can do it from anywhere. Out of the Bob Krakauer group usually with a teacher named Vance Barber who I've been with for like I think 8 or 9 years at this point, maybe even 10. But like that is my gym for that.
Do you ever look up old monologues and stuff and just practice them yourself just for fun and shit? I have like a fucking Ari Gold one committed to memory.
Can't say that word.
80% like in my brain because I practiced it so hardcore because I loved it. So there's like maybe there's one from Good Will Hunting. I think I have pretty down packed. But these are just like ones that I've been like, oh, I'm gonna memorize these for fun.
So yeah, no, there. I don't have any from films, but I kind of did that purposely, because I've seen a lot of people will bring in very famous scenes or monologues, and then I watch a casting actor sit there and say that they can separate themselves from remembering the way that it was done, and they really kind of can't, because they're remembering Robin Williams
Sure.
do this thing, and it's just as a human being, I have a hard time imagining that they're able to truly separate themselves from then watching. It could be a great performance.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that. But what I've actually done is I've actually started taking, and what I've been using for monologues is plays that either have a section where I can cut out the other person's lines and just use as a monologue. Like I did that with a Neil LaBute play called Fat Pig. I needed a monologue that made me look like a real asshole, kind of corporate bro that hates on fat chicks and only wants the models that he's getting, snorting coke. I needed that sort of a monologue, and
Should have got the one from fucking Shallow Hal, bro.
right.
Fucking what's his name from Seinfeld?
Jason Alexander?
Yeah. He has a good little
sure.
monologue in there too.
But like the point is that I did like pulling it from plays, because a lot of the casting actors, to no fault of their own, aren't going to be able to recall that as fast as something else.
And the style of that
it's
is
the
so
same thing.
different too, right? The
Yeah.
style in which you would deliver that, the style in which it's written, the context, the subtext of
Yeah.
that is played much differently than it would be film
100%.
versus stage.
I would-
right? So that might help your perforance in a way that
Especially if it's in
sets
person,
you apart.
right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
especially
yeah,
if it's in person, because they're not going to kind of know what hit them from that. And I have seen some people do some really butcher scenes.
I would
Like,
love if
really
you just
butcher
did
scenes.
like a monologue for 28 and they're like, what the fuck was that? Like, it's cocaine, it fucks me up. It's like, who was that guy?
So we told this story before, but because you're here, I'll say it again. When we worked on 28 together,
Yeah.
the fun thing about that was we talked about this guy being, the character of. What do you remember about Jerry / the Dark Rider? What do you remember about him?
It was.
Like the surface level idea of what you would tell the audience before it's revealed that what he really
Yeah,
is.
he's a guy who really does believe what he's doing, because he's kind of lost everything else, right? It's a guy who's
Pull out a mask.
right. Yeah, it's a guy who's struggling. No, it's a
He did
guy.
the voice, he did the voice.
It's a guy who's struggling just to keep his own shit together, and this happens to be the outlet. Now,
And he finds it by becoming a vigilante.
yeah, by
a
becoming
superhero.
somebody that's not even a mainstay in the world that they're in. Like, we don't forget, this is still. It's not like we're talking about the world of Marvel that we've created here, that where superheroes are the norm. Where this is still very much so.
Yeah.
At the time, Edison, New Jersey, where anybody who walks around in a superhero costume is probably going to get committed.
I like
right?
that you could watch just the Dark Rider scenes by themselves, and there's like a mini movie. And in his
Yeah, yeah.
point of view, he's like, "These guys are fucking idiots," and you're just like, "What is this guy's backstory? Like, I don't know what the fuck's
Yeah, like
Well,
but we have
you
to make
took
some.
you took to heart though when we talked earlier, when I was like, dude, there is a community of people that believe that they are superheroes. So they walk around and they
Yeah.
get dressed up and they patrol
Yeah.
like a something like crosswalker would, like anybody
Yeah.
who
a whole
could just
community,
help.
yeah.
There's a whole community of actual superheroes that are registered superheroes
Yeah.
in communities throughout the United States.
100%.
And when I said that to you, you're like, all right, well, then we gotta solidify this guy, make it real. Like he has
Yeah.
to care a lot.
Yeah, and what I thought was funny is, and I don't know if this is true, if I'm making it up in my head, but I remember, didn't he at one point get kicked out of one of these communities?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like
So,
everybody
yeah.
else is like, oh, we're gonna be like about truth and justice and hope, and you're like the Batman version of like, fuck that.
Yeah.
we're gonna solve some crimes today, motherfucker.
Yeah,
We're
the
like,
idea
whoa.
was that everybody's like, wait, you're hanging out with that guy? Like that's a guy, that guy's bad news.
It's kind of like Rocco.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
okay, no, I'm joking, but no, you're right. It's the guy who got kicked out of the D&D club because he was too extreme.
Okay.
He's the reject of the rejects. He's like, it's like, yeah, we're but that fucking guy's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, what was so endearing to me about him was it is a guy who, from somebody who very, very recently did kind of, and it's not sappy in a way, lose a good portion of of it all,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean,
you have a new life essentially.
yeah, and I kind of had to. Lost the job, lost my family, lost. It all kind of happened right around the same time.
Right. And you've experienced loss on like different levels, right?
Oh yeah, I mean my mom had died the year before. I have had. I mean my dogs are usually like my kids. We had our 3 dogs had passed away within succession of one every year for the 3 years before that, or very close to it. Like there was a lot of loss in a short amount of time. And what's interesting is that from a standpoint of now of going through that after playing it, there really is a question of when you lose a lot of stuff in succession, how do you hold on to who you are, and then what you kind of want to have happen from then on out? And now that I'm looking at it with Jerry, like I get him, I get, like, I'm not running down hookers and cocaine, but at the same time, the thought crossed my mind.
If you lose it all, you got nothing to lose.
Yeah, because with him, let's say, not the same exact path. Obviously, he's a fake character, but we set up without writing it in that he lost everything, and his way of coping was finding a mask and putting it on and going out into the world and trying to do something.
Kind of like Batman, like the fact, like, I'm not going to deal with my, like, losing my family.
Right.
Batman doesn't have a family.
Well, but funny,
you found a healthier way to cope.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of support from people. You know what I mean? I had a lot of support from friends, and other people. So, I mean, they were really the thing that I was able to lean into, and then finding work, and then, staying in acting and all the rest of that stuff, and starting playing music again and things like that. Like, I was able to find other healthy outlets.
You were in our pilot. We made a pilot together.
Yeah.
Pilot for a pilot.
Yeah.
We got nominated for Best Pilot.
I know.
Lost to something that I don't think should have beat us.
It was basically us worse with a better budget. That's what it was.
Yeah, but it's funny because now you're like, what I did hang on to back then was, in a different way, was that I found endearing about him is in his mind, as warped as it is, he's still putting that mask on and in his head helping people.
Yeah.
He's helping the 2 morons who come up to him for training.
He's the good guy. He's the mentor to them. Instead of, if you look at it from their point of view.
I mean, no bad guy in any film thinks he's the bad guy. That's a well-established thing.
Right,
it's just
right.
The Denzel Washington thing in Training Day, where it's like he thinks what he's doing is right. So it's kind of like...
Well, it's a combination of that and survival, right? Like, Denzel Washington's character knew exactly what he was doing because he also needed to figure out a way to survive the shit that he's gotten himself into, right? Like, that's another whole aspect of it. But yeah, I mean, that really was the thing. And being able to go then work on a project where I can help develop the character, which, again, if you're doing co-stars and guest stars, that's not really a thing. You're kind of the person who's helping the series regulars get to the next scene, right? So to be able to do that was a very different and quite honestly, it was fantastic, because then at least I was able to have conversations with the director, with you, and say, are we running down this road? Like, who do we really want this guy to be? And I think we ended up, and even the voice, we did so many different variations of, to figure out like.
Remember early on we were talking about maybe doing a high pitched voice?
Yeah.
So when we wrote the script,
and I was like, I could do this the whole time, but this is going to get really annoying for anybody fucking watching this film.
we wrote the script, we kind of figured maybe he'd have a gravelly voice or something. And then I remember you guys like met, and John's like, he came up with the voice. And I'm like, what is it? I heard for the first time. I was like, holy fucking shit, this is going to be good. Yeah. Because the most quotable line of that whole movie is just you do cocaine, go fuck. Yeah. And just one line.
And you were living in Queens at the time.
Yeah, I was coming out from New York.
So you were coming down from New York, like, I'm coming over, let's work on this. And you take the train. I'd pick you up, and we spent, very similar to me and Rocco, like spending like days just locked in the room. Like, you came in for a full day, and we just were working shit out and testing it and filming it on camera. And I believe, I'm saying this now just because also I am recutting a trailer, so we can do a re-release, so brand new trailer. There's gonna be a lot more Dark Rider in this trailer.
You gotta cut out that scene I asked you to cut out.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's a lot more Dark Rider, I think, in the next trailer, because I feel that we thought it was a good idea to leave that as like a surprise. I think that if we have a new trailer where we show you there, very much like they showed Jamie Foxx in Horrible Bosses, where there's more of that going on, I think it'll open it up to a wider audience.
Sure. And honestly, like, I think there is, and we.
I'm doing a re-release basically.
Yeah, no, and it's great. I think this is going to be, especially for your guys' podcast, where the movies you guys been talking about, at least in the first couple, were superhero movies. I think it's an interesting time to re-release because I think people still love superhero movies in general. I think there's also a little bit of a feeling of exhaustion and saturation with them, because there's just been so many of them put out over the past X number of years. It just feels that way in, like, I
think we've been spoiled, so now we have a certain expectation, and also the general public has gotten better at picking up on tropes and storytelling and what to expect. Yeah. So it's harder to surprise them.
Oh, 100%.
And because it's harder to surprise them, when you go see a Ant-Man and the Wasp, you kind of like know what's going to happen. And I'll continue to say this way all the time. It's always about making sure you get the inevitable ending in a surprising way. And that's a very difficult thing to do, I think, in a superhero film, because the good guys potentially always win. Well, so how do you do that?
If you take like James Gunn's Superman movie, just on plot alone, you'd be like, all right, I've seen this movie a million times, but the way that he did it with the character, you're like, oh, I'm really interested. But like,
did you watch it?
Which?
Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, it was like he humanized Superman. That's the one thing that nobody else has been able to do since Donner Superman.
Yeah.
Like, it's a difficult thing to do, and he did it in a way where it reflects the time we live in.
I'll say, besides Reeves, I think he's the next best Superman. Like, I'm not arguing that whatsoever.
I do love Ralph, though. I stand by Ralph. I think Ralph didn't get a fair shake.
You know who I don't like?
Did you drink before you started the podcast?
I really loved Ralph.
Visually, though, I've said this to Rocco before.
Yeah.
Visually, it's Cavill every day of the week.
No, he looks like Superman. He just doesn't act like him.
He looks like the comic book.
I don't think he acts like Superman. No. I don't think he acts like Clark Kent.
No, that's what we're saying.
I'm not saying he show up in his mouth. I'm saying if you take a picture of Cavill, that's who I see.
If Superman walked in the room, you'd be like, that's Superman. And then he starts talking like, the bat is dead, Barry. You're like, all right, shut the fuck up.
I think that he would have been much better suited as only playing, like, the bad Superman. Like, just the long hair, the way, all that. I think he's great for that.
But you never got a shot to play a good Superman. You never got the writing of, like,
I don't think he can do it.
I don't know.
But I think as good as an actor he is, I don't think he can do it.
Hey, Henry Cavill, you want to play Santa Claus?
to your point, though, I think it's... or what we were talking about before, I think it's a very interesting time because there is this little bit of like another goddamn superhero movie, like because there is that once in a while.
I don't feel that way. I'm not as negative about it because I know how difficult it is to make these films and how to bring this stuff to life from comic books. So the fact that there's source material that people are pulling from and creating these things that we only dreamed about as kids, I think that we are so privileged and so fucking like blessed to be able to watch this stuff. I think it all boils down to not everybody behind the lens creating these films understands how to tell a story. And that is a very obvious thing when you see all the Marvel movies and who they let be in charge. You can have Kevin Feige, Fuego, Feige. You can have him be executive producer on everything and go, yay, nay, yay, nay, yay, nay. But you can tell that in terms of consistency, he also doesn't have it figured out. But you look at someone like Gunn, even though we understand what a James Gunn movie is, he doesn't fail when it comes to like storytelling.
No,
beginning, middle, and end. You're like, all right. I guess.
Well, anyway, that's right. I think you're 100% right. I'm just saying that from the people that I speak to out between LA and New York, there is a sense of, I wish there were other things that were coming out with big budgets besides superhero.
Yeah, of course.
That's
like I saw Friendship with
Tim Robinson.
Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, I just watched it. I won't kill it. But
liked it?
It's about friends.
Loved it.
Very good.
Loved it.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
It's fucking makes you uncomfortable, but in a way where you feel like you're watching a horror movie.
Yeah.
Because you're like, it's coming. The tension build is so good. And I love that. And you can say that film, if people gave a shit about comedy the way they used to, that film could do for comedy and those types of movies what Superbad did for other films.
Sure.
Because it's not as punchliney, like there's not that many jumps of jokes like every line or other. But every single line in that movie, everything that's said, everything that you see, is pushing the story forward, and it's funny and it's clever and kind of unbelievable. Like if you're in real life, if your neighbor punches your neighbor in the face,
Yep.
it's going to be weird and awkward. It's not going to be like an all-out kind of like huge brawl where everybody gets involved and it's super dramatic.
Yeah.
It's just like weird and awkward, and then everybody's at a dinner party.
Right.
It plays that. It plays the awkwardness of when strange shit happens in life and how you have to just deal with it.
Yeah.
As opposed to dramatizing it. And because it's not dramatized, the comedy and the way it hits is really funny.
Okay.
He has a whole show about that. Like, I Think You Should Leave with
Yeah,
Robinson.
I've seen it. It's
Because
great.
I was like, what is this show? And I just watched the whole thing. I was like, this is kind of genius.
And you could see
It's
the
so
influence. You could see the influence for sure.
Yeah.
So for me, it's something like that you can craft in a way where you're like, okay, this is it's special. It's kind of special because you haven't seen something like this in a while.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like that type of storytelling to me, I don't know, what the fuck were we talking about? I don't even remember.
Well,
now.
initially, well, and
There should be bigger budget movies.
Oh, bigger budget movies. Yeah. So
that are not.
So I see a movie like that and I go, damn, I want to see more of that. And I told them I saw Magazine Dreams with Jonathan Majors
Yep.
a week ago. Fucking another good movie. Too many endings, but another really good movie. But then I saw Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
And Thunderbolts was really good.
Thunderbolts has been my favorite for multiple reasons. Florence Pugh. Hi. No. But like,
I rate the movie based off the women and
no. Besides my I think she's one of the most talented, most beautiful
really
actresses
good. She's really
of
good.
the generation.
Yeah.
I just find her fascinating to watch.
We're gonna get
Oppenheimer.
we're gonna get her milk and cookies.
Don't bring me to set.
You can play whatever you want. Santa, my part. I
I won't
don't
be
give
able
a
to stay
fuck.
conscious. No, So, but between Oppenheimer and Thunderbolts, it's just that was one of my favorites. It's not the fact that it's a superhero movie. The problem that I'm having lately is that, like, so there are other films, I should say. Like, I watched Eddington.
Oh, you saw it?
That was fantastic.
Okay.
Like, and I have very rarely been surprised by a trajectory of a film lately between everything you and I have cut and being an editor, being an actor, like being on set and just watching pretty much
Yeah, I really
everything
want to
can.
see that.
It's fantastic, and it's one of the only films that I haven't seen coming. The pace of the film goes from like 0 to 100 in about like 3 scenes, and you're like, what the fuck is going on right now?
It's really stupid,
It's
but
great.
the fact that it's Eddington, I always think of Paddington 2 because fucking
I would-
Pedro Pascal's
No,
in
me too.
that Nicolas Cage movie where he's like,
Yeah.
Paddington 2 changed my life.
Yeah.
So I always think of that. I'm just like, oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
so that brings us to this, right? The idea that we started this podcumentary.
Showcast.
Stop calling it that.
I have to do it, man. He's not here. I
Every
gotta
fucking episode.
every
It's-
episode.
It's meant for us to be able to talk about our process as we start filming our next movie,
Yeah.
Milk and Cookies, which is a R-rated comedy horror film, right? A Christmas horror comedy is what we're calling it, a Christmas horror comedy. And we did a short film version of it, like a proof of concept, many years ago, which you played Santa Claus in.
Yeah.
And what we
Grew a
want,
whole beard and everything.
what we want to do is document this going forward. Not only document it, but also treat this podcumentary as our dartboard of things to try. So that'll allow us to talk about it on the podcast, shoot skits,
Yeah.
do stand-up, shoot some test scenes, like do everything we can building towards it as we start to fund this next movie. Because my goal with this, or our goal with this, is to make sure that we fund this movie for $1 million.
Yep.
$1 million movie. Now, how is this movie going to get cast and all that stuff? Like, we know we want you in it. We don't know what part you're going to
Yeah,
play.
yeah,
You might play a different part. If we can get you to play Santa again, I would fucking love it.
Dark Rider.
Whatever
Yeah.
Florence Pugh says no to, you could be that. Yeah.
Whatever role is going to keep me as far away from Florence Pugh as possible is probably the smart. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm joking. It's, no.
The main thing with this, and I have to say it like every time we're on here, is that we want to be able to say, hey, we're going to do this, and then just find a way to do it, right? So we did it with 28. We tried to raise the money. We didn't have enough. We still made the movie.
Yeah.
Now I just know that it's a completely different time, and making a movie is not that difficult. It's challenging, but it's not the hardest thing in the world. Like an independent film. Anybody can make an independent film. Anybody has a camera. Is it a good movie? That's harder to make, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we have a really amazing concept. We have a script that I'm rewriting. This week I did so good rewriting. We rewrote 40 pages this week, so I'm really happy.
Sure,
so we're going to have a new draft by the end of August. And as much as I get on Rocco's case, Rocco is the person that keeps me fucking accountable the most. Like, annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah, you need
Are
that.
you working on this? Did you get to that?
Yeah.
And like, we've had conversations before where like, if I snap at him or I'm like, just fucking leave me alone, he'd be like, you told me to remind you,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm not doing this for fun.
If you're quiet, you get nothing done. If you're an asshole, eventually something gets done.
So all we want to do is make another movie. We want to make another movie
Yeah.
so bad, right? So I was like, well, this is how we do it. We talk about it. We continue to watch movies, talk about movies, get in touch with our friends who have helped us in the past, and make sure we can bring them on this next journey.
Yeah.
So do you think that this is something that's doable, like funding $1 million movie?
Well, I wasn't initially until I found out you guys were like actually going to push forward with it, right? So I mean, because initially there was a short that we shot, and I thought we were initially using it as a concept to try to get other things made, or money toward other things
Right.
made. And once you guys decided that you're going to use it for this, to make this to be the actual film, yeah, it's great. I don't really, quite honestly, have an opinion or care what role I'm in. Just again, it's kind of like the same way I felt about 20 Minute Epic, was that it was the script, from what I understand. Again, I haven't seen.
Were you at the reading for the last time we were like, oh, we're going to go in
in the
production?
top of Nancy's?
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
so it's a completely different.
Yeah,
movie.
so it's even different.
Yeah,
So I mean, if it's anything like that's, I get very excited about intelligent scripts that, it's not that it has to be something I've never seen before, because again, there's only a certain number of stories in the end that that people will respond to.
An inevitable ending in a surprising way.
Right, but again,
That's
that's
what
the
you want.
thing. I'm excited to see what direction it's gone into, because I was so heavily involved with the pilot, or the short.
Yeah.
I think if it has any of the other thing I'm responding to very heavily, especially with films right now, and that's funny because we were talking about this before the podcast started, or sorry, the podcumentary.
Correct.
Showcast.
Shut your stupid mouth.
Before it started, I have a very interesting new litmus test for films, whether I like them or not. And I could like a film a lot, but there are many films that I think are good that I probably won't ever watch again, versus a film that I'll watch over and over and over. Like
that's funny because Manny just said that in like the previous podcast.
Yeah. If you don't watch it
If
over
you
and over
haven't
again,
checked that out, check it out.
Oh yeah.
But he's like, you can't ruin a good movie, even if you know the twist or whatever. If it's something that has repeat viewing,
but it has to be rewatchable.
It has to be rewatchable, and it also like I've got. It's funny we mentioned Florence Pugh. I watched We Live in Time. I think I'm probably on like 8 or 9. Like that movie, the way it was done, the way it was edited, the way the score hits. Like there's so many things about that film that I will watch over and over and over again, and find something different.
Yeah.
Of all things, for a couple of years ago, is Fall Guy. Like that movie will never win an award for. It should win an award for things like stunts and things like that, because it's an homage to the stunt groups anyway. But like there's some, and what I'm noticing now is that the something that I'm missing from a lot of these films is, the only way I could describe it is I guess the word heart. There's something that a lot of the 80s and 90s films and early 2000 films, for better for worse, of what the content was. But if it was a film that I'd watch over and over again, it was because it hit me in a certain way, because it included that thing. There's just something at the core theme of the film that really got to me.
Yeah.
And I don't find that exists very often anymore in a lot of the films that are coming out. And I think, while I think I could like a film,
The ones that
a
are
lot,
getting theatrical distribution,
Yeah.
for the most part.
yeah, and honestly, just so you know, like
I'm gonna go see Weapons tonight, by the way.
I hear it's fantastic. I haven't seen it myself.
I saw Barbarian, but that was pretty good.
And like this year, that film for me, for some odd reason, and I can't even put my finger on why, I think it does remind me so much of those 90 films, is of all things F1.
I haven't seen it yet.
I
love the trailer thing.
I love the
phone.
film. I think it's well done. It's well edited. And I wasn't even like a big... I saw Top Gun Maverick, same director. I've seen a few of his other films. I love Tron Legacy. That was another one. But there's something that's just hitting me different with these films lately, that the ones that I feel have heart are the ones that I'll repeatedly watch. And it could be about, that's what I'm saying, it could be about
I'm
anything.
the same way. Yeah.
It could be about race cars. It could be about stunt guys. It could be about a couple who's struggling. It could be the gamut. It's just it has to have a certain feel.
There's
to it.
goodness to it, too,
Yeah.
right?
I feel like,
yeah.
rewatchability is almost a side effect. For me, for a good movie, it's either give me exactly what I want or surprise the fuck out of me.
Sure.
Like, I didn't even know to ask for that, you know? So that's
It's funny you said that. There's something to be said. Good is good, right? In an audition, in a film, you watch it and you know something's good. It's good, and sometimes you can't even put your finger on what makes it good. You just watch it and you know, oh, that was good.
Yeah, because like look at a film like Parasite, where obviously the outcome of that is horrendous,
Dark, yeah.
but there's still this inherent goodness about it, like what they wanted out of it, what everybody wanted out of it, and how that movie wraps up. You feel for them. You're like, fuck, like they become real for that viewing.
Or you could at least, at the very least, like I can see myself in not in as playing one of the characters, but I see a part of myself in one of the characters. And I can,
relatable.
It's
relatable
100% relatable.
Yeah. Cool. You?
What about Parasite?
Here we go.
Oh, here's this. I don't know how the fuck we're going to naturally segue into this. How's California doing when it comes to acting?
Oh yeah, we'll end with.
I will preface this with saying that from what I've asked around because
wait. So before you go, you were in Jersey. You moved to Queens.
I moved to Queens, then to Brooklyn, then to Queens, then to San Diego, and now I'm splitting time between Los Angeles and New Jersey / New York.
So our goal is to get you back here for good. So when we make this movie,
sure, yeah.
Is that like because Hollywood, New Jersey, popping off.
I'm at this point basically a nomad who basically goes where I need to go, either to stop pissing off the people that I'm staying with. or in reality, it's a lot of times is work stuff. Like I'm like, I got this opportunity to go now in LA. I'm going to go there for a couple weeks and go there. I'm going to come back to New Jersey for a couple weeks, and I'm back and forth. But yeah, that's been my like location journey over the past. I think I started moving around in 2012, 2011, somewhere around there. So I've been very, very mobile. As far as the film industry is concerned, now I'm going to give you a number from my own personal experience in that, just to give you an idea of, and there's a couple of reasons why, but the statistic is, I looked it up, that as of last year, if I looked at August of 2024, I was already at something close to 20 auditions.
Okay.
I've had 3 this year. Now, there's a lot that is reasoning for that from the people I've talked to, whether that be in casting. I've talked to a few casting directors saying they're having a hard time getting attached to projects. Like, there's not a lot, and we're hoping that does increase in the near future. There's not a lot getting greenlit right now. For whatever reason, a lot of it's money.
So it's better we just make a fucking movie here.
Well, I will say,
get it going.
and the reason, and so there's other things. There's a lot of stuff that is filming that's going overseas, and there is a trickle down effect for how this affects how the strike is affected, and not just blaming the strike, but how other things have it kind of compounded because of the strike.
Yeah.
You're getting what I'll affectionately call the trickle down effect. I don't know if that anybody else is that you have certain level actors all jumping down levels just so they can work.
Yeah.
If you notice, I don't know if you notice, but like, and it drives me crazy because I'm sitting there going like, unless it's a perfume commercial or something like that, but like, or a cologne commercial, you've got major actors doing car insurance commercials, like
coffee,
right? Like it's like they need to make money. I get it, but those jobs used to go to no names because they just needed a face that did the work. Right now, their
product was a star.
Correct. Right. So and now it's different. So you're getting people who would be like a series regular taking guest star roles. People and then that pushes everything else down. So now you got guest star roles, people going to co-star roles just to get work. Co-star roles doing extra work. Yeah. Right, and then extras now getting pushed. But what we're seeing
that's why I'm not directing the next Marvel film. I guess someone took my job. Now I'm just going to make an indie film.
So, but what the great news about this is actually, right? But here's the good news about it, right? And from what I understand, and you've seen it already kind of come up, right? You saw it with Sinners. You're seeing it with Weapons. You're going to see it probably with a lot of money that is getting thrown because they don't need as much money to make big films are going to indie films. So if anything, I could say I'm really hopeful that the indie film market is what benefits from all this insanity.
I think it will.
With the money of the corporations trying to take. I went to a couple picket lines myself.
We have control over what we will and won't make, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's more about how much information do we give our audience that we're asking for money to help us produce something? How much do we give them? So I see like people who are producing their films outside of the system, and they essentially give the whole movie away. And to me, that feels cheap, and also there's no surprise. Maybe there's a middle ground there where we can give just enough information about the film that we want to make that will entice people to go, I want to give money to that.
We just read page 37 out of context. Like, so that's all you get. Give us $1 million.
Well, it's funny you say, because the world is very different about how the financing works, even with the major studios, right? So before, there's a couple of films, and it's funny because it's the same. There's a show on Netflix. I think it's still on Netflix called "The Films That Made Us."
Yeah.
Right? And it's the same story, just with different companies. That it's you got a guy.
I love the Dirty Dancing one.
Right, and there's the Back to the Future one.
It's the Ninja Turtles one, right?
Pretty Women. Yeah. I haven't seen them.
That's
I
the
haven't
choice
seen.
they made us.
Yeah, it was. They some script came up that a studio believed in. They went and found the money through all these financiers, and then they got a director. And in the end, what they ended up doing was, we have to trust the director to make this project, and they would let him go. And then want some input to say, they almost fired. I mean, that's they did that with Back to the Future. I forgot who was initially cast.
Eric
Stoltz. That's it. And then they replaced him because the dailies went back and it wasn't working, and the director knew it wasn't working too.
Happened with Donner on the fucking second Superman movie.
Right.
You know who the girlfriend was supposed to be originally before they thought Marty McFly was too. It was Jan from The Office.
Yeah.
They were like, she's just way too fucking tall for
Yeah. No, but there was a certain level of trust to the arts and the artists that were making the films, and eventually that kind of went away. That now all of a sudden the corporations want a lot more control. So in order to combat that, and what you're describing is, you kind of have to then start giving away a lot more of the film in order for people to trust that their money is going to be put in a certain way. Now, I'm with you.
But there's also film nerds that just give money up because
100%.
they want to see something cool.
Right, but then
people make fan films and people fund fan films, and nobody's watching that except that audience.
But are they giving you? They're giving $50,000. Like, who knows? You know what I mean? Like, it's how do you get enough to make up to now what we're talking about, $1 million?
Yeah,
and that's going to be tricky because I'm with you. I hate it with everybody who knows me, and I talk about trailers. I'm not a big fan of the modern trailer, because I think a lot of the modern trailers, and I understand why they do it, it's to get people to actually go out to a movie theater. It's not the people who are cutting it. The problem I have is with a lot of these trailers, I've seen the film by the end of the trailer. And I think there's another way to do it.
I want to look up who's cutting teasers and trailers for Christopher Nolan, because
they're brilliant.
That 30-second nothing trailer.
It might be Jennifer Lamb.
The whole world is like, can't wait to watch this movie.
It might be Jennifer Lamb.
Now this comes with, Nolan reverence, right? We revere Nolan, and the idea that every time he makes something, we're like, we got to see it. Hate him or love him, we want to know what.
I still think he of my top 2 films of all time, he still got me tied for number 1, but 2 of his films. So I'm like, I am a Chris Nolan fan. I'm wondering, quite honestly, if
there's a TikTok dude that would hate us.
That's fine.
That guy.
I love his content, but he's like, gets so upset when people talk about like the Nolan films being like great films. He's like, they're not, and I'm not even going to get into like totally what he says, but again, some of those Nolan films, for me, do what we talked about before. The goodness within them is what makes me go, I want to watch it again.
Yeah, and I don't usually like do rankings of like stuff that I like, because to me that's like asking like, somebody who has kids, who's your favorite kid, which everyone has one. But no, it's hard, but like I do like 2 of his films very much so because of that reason, right? And I think you don't see it coming, a lot of the stuff when you first watch it. But I'm wondering, quite honestly, because whenever I've edited films, they've asked me to cut the trailers, and the first thing I'll say to them is, I know the footage well enough that I think we can get away with a trailer that doesn't give the whole thing away, and I would prefer that if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if like his editor for the past few films now, I think all the way back to Tenet, was Jennifer Lame, and she's a brilliant editor in general. But I'm kind of wondering if she's doing the trailers now too, because it has that those always have the feel of somebody who knows even the footage that wasn't used. That can show enough of the film to get somebody to be like, oh, this is going to be fucking good.
Yeah, it's those perfect lines that give you all the subtext you need to set something up, something bigger. You know? So,
because I'm wondering if you can, I don't know if you can cut a really good trailer without knowing everything that got cut from the film.
I mean, we have a huge, I'm going to cut this part out. We have a huge reveal in Milk and Cookies, right? Like, we have a huge reveal.
Florence
But
Pugh's in this.
but the last thing I want to do is give away the whole, like...
I think if you give the first act, that's fine. If you give up to like the fucking...
My thing is though, like, I think there is some sort of an expectation right now that they, you know, I really do believe that audiences are smart enough that if they don't see the whole sections from the whole film, that they can still put together that whether a film is going to be watchable or something they want to see.
Yeah.
Because we've done it, right? We've done it, and that's the way you used to do it.
Yeah.
You should just like ape that Christopher Nolan thing, just like from director Giancarlo Fernandez, and then you just cut to someone going, "Who the fuck is that?" And then you just go to the next thing.
The entire film industry right now, it seems, is slow, including television series, since that's become a very important thing. It does feel very slow right now. I'm hoping, and everybody is, that it does pick up a little bit.
Well, the uptick is in verticals.
Yes.
And
That's a whole
short form
fucking thing.
series on, mobile
Yes.
stuff. Lots of mobile stuff. So Quibi, we talk about this all the time. Quibi came out in the wrong year.
It was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
If,
that's
if
right.
Quibi
That's
came
right.
out now,
That's right.
it
Yeah.
would do great.
Well, it's kind
Or
of
if
the
they
joke.
put it out again. I forgot who bought it. Somebody bought it.
Somebody
Tubi or
Somebody probably
Amazon.
bought it to like fucking bury it. They're just like, here we go.
There
Well,
were
it's
good shows on Quibi.
Well, it's kind of funny too, like the way that the timing works out, right? So like Vine went away, 3 years later TikTok comes out. It's the same goddamn thing.
Yeah.
It's just a different version.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of that circulating around California now. There is some concern about it being non-union work, because then you have a hard time getting union.
See, but what I see is that, let's say there are actors that want to be actors, but they know that if they put these paywalls behind their own episodes, now they're acting,
Yeah.
and the community's paying them.
Yep.
And they're like, well, fuck it, I'm an actor. I don't need the union. I don't need to be in a big movie. And those people are still getting cast and
Oh, and they're making a lot of money.
and another thing.
They're making a lot of money.
The thing with that is being the producer of everything you do is a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
So staying focused on one thing
Yeah.
becomes difficult. Like, we've never worked on anything that I've been in, and all I want to do is act in something and not have to direct it.
Yeah.
But I've never been in anything where I don't have to direct, write, act, do all that.
Yeah.
And I know that if I were to focus on one of those things fully, probably be 10 times better at that one thing.
Sure. I mean, it's
But
just a
these
matter of
people-
time and focus, right? Yeah.
But the way some of these will say, I don't want to call them TikTok actors and like take value away from what they're doing, but these
No, right.
creators
Yeah.
that are making content and acting online and going, here's 7 episodes of my life.
Yep.
Because that's what they are. They're day in
Yeah.
the lives of the dancer, day in the life
Yeah.
of the struggling actor, day in the life of the cook, day in the life of someone who gets their heart broken all the time. By episode 7, if it's good enough, which people are learning to write,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, you want to watch episode 8? It's $25.
Right.
Right. It's not $1. It's
No.
not $2. It's $25.
Right.
It's
They've got
$35.
people hooked enough
Yeah.
that they're like, I'll pay the $25.
It's a smart thing if you have the time to build that tension and build that parasocial relationship with people.
Yeah, it's too, for me to actually have an informed opinion. It's too new. I've cut a few of them. Then
He's been in a few.
Yeah, the few that I've cut though have been pretty god awful. So I mean, like I don't have too much of an opinion about the verticals. I know that they're definitely on people's radars now. There's a few casting directors out in Los Angeles that are casting them. And all I could say is that there's a lot of people in the union who are not jumping on them, not because they don't want to, because of the ambiguity of what they actually are. They're not shorts, they're not films, they're not new media. So can SAG actors work with them? And that's right now is the big question of what's going on with them, as from the actor's standpoint.
From the ones I've been on, I feel like they treat them almost like little soap operas.
Yeah, that's
but they're
what
like R-rated. It'll always be like a combination of
Yeah.
words, like my billionaire's divorce
Yeah.
cheating thing. And I remember going for it, and they were like, it was like a backstage thing. It's like, we're looking for diversity. I'm like, this does not look like diversity. The thing is, it's like an Asian production, like it might be from China, so they're looking for like a bunch of like stereotypical white people. So it's like, oh, let's look for like
Yeah.
a guy with a beard. Let's look for a handsome guy.
Yeah.
So it's like total inverse, but it's like they're cursing too, so it's weird. It's like, oh, that's my wife, you motherfucker.
Well, they're utterly huge in China.
yeah. It's
So
it's a big thing.
they're making money hand over fist in China. So I don't doubt that that's why and for good reason, reason for them to look. I'm just saying from my experience of editing them primarily, I haven't found the content to be anywhere near as compelling or intelligent as what they can be.
Yeah.
The business model and the content, there's a far divide.
Yeah.
Like, there's a way to take that type, because anything, you fuck TV show, movie, you could take a vertical and make a good story, but a lot of people are like going it the other way, where it's just like fast, let's do it more, let's get more.
I am interested in your perspective on them too, because when I edit them, I'm begging to see what's on the other side of the frame. So like I and a lot of them I've been getting like full frame shots that they want to turn into a vertical,
Right.
and I'm like, but you're missing this dude on the side who's making this, and to cut away to that to 2 seconds, like it just becomes such a chop job that I'm like, I'm interested to know what you think about, like, as far as the shooting them if you ever need to.
I think I've learned now, because let's say the marketing content that I do normally ends up on an iPhone. So
Yeah.
there's stuff for computers, laptops, TV too. But I very much am, whatever we're going to use, let's just do it so everything's in camera. But I lose that battle half the time, because there's going to be like, hey, we can cover two in the same. So we go horizontal and then we just shoot 4K and chop it up that way.
Yeah.
I think it really is just situation dependent.
Yeah.
I always think of when we were shooting 28, where like it's the opening of the documentary where I'm recording Giancarlo, and he's like, "You got the phone the wrong fucking way."
Yeah, the whole
But that's
fucking
also
thing.
the
But
argument too. Like, why can't we just do this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why can't? What is the?
It's because we've become so accustomed to having the phone this way, where two hands is too much. So it's everybody's going to do this and swipe through, and this seems to be such a stronger connection.
This is what
versus
happens
this.
when you don't beat your kids. You see, I'm like,
But that's the stronger connection. So with that said, now because you have this vertical frame, really, let's say decent vertical framing is going to be very much down the center, maybe slightly off to the
yeah, it's
side.
hard to do like a third, right?
Yeah, the third you can, but you
I mean,
have
I'm
to
doing
do
it right now.
You have to do a third
This
and
is a
like
third.
be on the bottom corner over here,
Right.
to make it super interesting.
You have to adapt.
But you have to have a lot of intent with that type of camera work when it comes to a phone.
Okay.
So unless you're really going, this framing is going to help with the storytelling and what's going on, I think that the purpose is always going to be conversation, quip, back
Sure,
and
sure,
forth,
sure.
back and forth.
That works.
How do we connect them? The harder thing for me is the reading of the eyes on the phone, because you can't get as intimate as you can with the lens on the camera.
Oh, 100%.
so that part is harder. So the acting and the sound has to be pristine.
Yeah.
I think it works better when it's supposed to be a phone. Like if you watch like a found footage thing, it's like vertical like that, then you buy it more. But if it's actually like, oh, this is a staged reality.
Well, we were
it's like
watching the
just-
studio, right? And the studio's a oneer. And I said, well, when we start doing the skits, we're going to do oneers as well. So we do oneers in the wide camera of the iPhone to give it that feel on
Yeah.
a gimbal, right? And it works. It works. It gives you that same kind of
Sure.
in the moment vibe. So
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. But if you're not outside, the performance has to be big,
Yeah.
because you can't. The subtleties are
No,
lost.
It's gone. Yeah.
And because the subtleties are lost, it either comes off like you remember-
unless you're this big.
Yeah.
Like right this close.
Yeah,
Right.
that's why I like the cinematic mode, because you can put some contrast, and my skin looks great, by the way. You can put some contrast mode on there, and all of a
Everybody
sudden
else did it.
It's better.
Soak it in.
But yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot of cool content with verticals. My first love is cinema, right? Long form content in horizontal. The wider, the better. The bigger, the longer, the better.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're like-
IMAX film
IMAX
is
is
amazing.
still
You're
my
that
favorite.
cinematic bigot. It's like, it's not supposed to be vertical.
I love
I
good
just-
storytelling. The more immersive a story can be, the better it is. So for me, give me the biggest screen, the biggest theater, the loudest sound, and let me live in that for 2 hours.
You should go to Texas.
They have one big one there.
No, that's just Texas. Everything's bigger is better. No, but like no. So like I'm not I'm not against this thing. I'm just saying so far
The quality's not
it's
there.
been shit. And my biggest concern about
Bring Quibi back.
No, my biggest concern about it being shit right now is because I don't want the level of what good is to fall just because they haven't seen good yet. Right? So I don't want it to be like where this is really actually good and we should be aspiring to hear that then somebody only puts out this and all of a sudden this kind of falls and everybody's like, oh, that's when it's real crap. You know what I mean? It's like that's my concern.
I will say the fact that mostly these are dramas. If this is where you're at and you're trying to be that, like on purpose for comedy, there's something there of those verticals where if you did it if you did it shitty on purpose, it would kind of be funny.
Well, you call it soap opera, right? It's great for soap opera. Like it's a great medium for soap opera kind of stuff. Like there's no question. Because who the hell gives a shit about the nurse walking behind in the hospital scene? You know, who cares? It doesn't do anything really for a soap opera. You know, but yeah, so that's that. I mean, I think it's a very cool idea. I just haven't seen it done well yet for me not to shit on it.
Yeah. Okay, let's wrap there.
Yep.
I want to say thank you to Steve for coming out. He's going to be our reoccurring guest, I think, from time to time. We'll have the guys back who we didn't fire this time. They'll be back. But Steve, thank you so much. You fired him. Steve, I want to do a new tagline ending on this. So I want it to be
Wubba lubba dub dub.
if you can't make it in Hollywood, maybe you can make it in Hollywood, New Jersey. Can you do that into the camera, but with a Dark Rider voice?
Again.
Yeah. What the hell? If you can't make it in Hollywood, maybe you can make it in Hollywood, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Christ, if you can't make it in Hollywood, maybe you can make it in Hollywood, New Jersey.
And we're out.
Fuck.
Would not wear earmuffs in Hollywood. But if we never make it, doesn't mean that we're no good. Would not wear earmuffs in Hollywood. But if we never make it, doesn't mean that we're no good.